Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Independent Brokerage. I am Howard Flashen, the broker and owner of Roundtable Realty.
And I'm Erin Salem, Director of Marketing Director for Roundtable Realty. How was your weekend?
It was fun.
It was?
Yes. We went to the zoo.
The Jacksonville Zoo.
The Jacksonville Zoo.
Ah, you know, they got rid of the capybaras.
I think I saw capybaras there.
You did?
What's a capybara?
It's like a giant rodent.
Oh, no, they have those. Yeah.
Oh,
they
I gotta tell my husband.
For a long time, just so you know.
That's specific.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, almost like it's still pooping.
Why is it still?
Oh my gosh.
Huh. Okay, well, I didn't know anything about their
abilities.
Right.
Their special abilities.
What was your favorite part of the zoo?
The new ape section is really cool.
Oh.
And we were up near the glass.
Yeah.
And the silverback slowly sauntered over and kind of sat with his back to us. By the way, his back looked like, like a world weightlifting champion's back.
Yeah, they're
right?
huge.
And then he just turns around, looks, and gets up and bangs on the glass. Twice. Yep. It's really neat.
Oh, I would have peed my pants.
And then we asked the zoo lady, the glass can't break. And she kind of goes, I don't know.
Oh, you should know. You should be super clear
This
about.
ought to be factual.
Wow.
You've got kids
But
there.
it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
We had some food at that center section. By the way, the secret is don't eat at the first food section.
Okay.
Go past that, and there's the Trout River Grill.
Yes.
Well, see, they get you at the first one. And you get, like, the slop. You got to go to the Trout River Grill. We went there to avoid a 30-minute rainstorm. And I was like, oh, look at these food options. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, little secret there.
Tips and tricks from
I think you can pull a boat
Howard
up
Flash.
there.
And
Did you
yeah,
know? I think
you
you can
can.
boat there.
Yeah. Not that I ever would, but you could.
You could.
Yeah.
You could boat there.
Excellent.
Yeah. Food. You want to talk about food?
Yeah.
Other than zoo food?
Right. Which
Did you have any good food this weekend?
did.
What'd you eat?
Well, I was in South Florida this weekend, so I got to go to Rocco's Tacos. It's one of my favorite places to get tacos.
Do they serve tacos?
I do. They do. And they also, they have so many their guacamole is to die for, and they have so many awesome dishes that are spectacular and very authentic. But I tell you what I learned this weekend. So I don't care for margaritas, but I do like tequila. So a lot of times I'll have tequila with some soda water and lime and sip that instead of a margarita. Have you ever heard of ranch water?
Never.
Okay, so I was standing at the bar trying to order this drink, and it's always difficult when it's busy, and they're like, "You want what?" Because you can't just say margarita. And I'm explaining to her what I want, and she looks at me and goes, "Do you mean a ranch water?" And I was like, "There's a name?"
What? Whoa!
Yes, that's what I want. And she made it, and I tasted it in front of her. That's what I want. She goes, "Yeah, it's called a ranch water." Like I'm the idiot for not knowing it's called a ranch water. But the food was delicious, and
think of the gift this lady just gave you.
Oh, she saved me so much time and energy.
In the future,
I just have to pray that other bartenders know that term.
Oh, and it's not something different.
This is not ranch water at all.
Ranch water.
Yeah. Oh, we had a great time.
You said you wanted tap water?
Yeah.
No,
No.
not at all.
It was great. And South Florida is just, I grew up in South Florida. Feels like home. You step outside, it's 80 degrees at 7 a.m., and then, of course, this morning I wake up in Jacksonville, and it's 47 degrees. I'm like,
I don't think it was 47 degrees.
It was where I lived.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a big gap in temperature in Jacksonville.
Huge.
It's the biggest city in the U.S.
That's right.
So
That's why there's such a big temperature change.
I ate at a meat buffet this weekend. Yep.
Oh, which one?
Terra Gaucha.
Okay, great.
But here's what happened. So I think we've had this conversation before, but there are 3 meat buffets.
Yes, all within like a mile.
Fogo de Chao, Texas de Brazil, and Terra Gaucha. And we started at Texas because that was my son's favorite, and it was an hour wait.
Okay.
And then I called Fogo, and they were an hour. And then we called Terra, and they said, we're a 40-minute wait. So, okay, well, my wife said, let's go to Terra. I said, okay, can we put ourselves on the list? And they said, no, we don't do any sort of lists or reservations or anything like that. Oh, okay. So I get in the car, and we drive over there. And we walk in, and we walk up to the counter or the hostess stand.
Yeah.
And I say, we have 4. And she says, do you have a reservation?
Lies!
I put my hand on the desk, and I said, hold on. Wait a minute. Stop
You
it
just
right
said.
now. You just told me 10 minutes ago
I can see you
on the
doing
phone. And then the manager's there, who's a really nice guy. I've seen him around. He does a great job of making sure everybody's happy. And he said he heard everything I was saying. I was like, and then he's like, no, look, we'll get you seated next. And I said, no, listen, I'm not trying to jump the line.
Right.
And that's not my goal here.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out the irony that you literally just told me 15 minutes ago that you didn't do call-in seating or reservations, and the first words that are greeted with me is, do you have a reservation? It reminded me of my time at Adventure Landing. Did I ever tell you that story about Adventure Landing where it was toddler day at Adventure Landing? Bring your toddler
that sounds
to
terrible.
the water park.
Well,
Okay, and it was like
itself.
9 o'clock in the morning. And if you haven't been to Adventure Landing, they have a huge lazy river.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
And water pours off the top of a building
Yes.
into the lazy river
Right.
at DEFCON 5 speed.
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
I mean, it's just crushing if you get caught in it, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, no one's used these inner tubes all day. So the inner tubes are gathered in the turbulent water below it. So you don't have much of a choice of what you're going to do. You either
Sure.
have to go underneath the waterfall, but that's filled with inner tubes, or you have to go around the waterfall. And at the time, I don't remember if it was Aiden. I think it was Aiden. Aiden's like 1 or 1.5 and sitting in Ashley's lap as she sits in an inner tube. And there's a lifeguard straight eye shot from me to them across the inner tubes.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her like this, and she can't hear me because of the turbulent water. And I'm looking at her like this, and I'm pointing at the inner tubes, and I'm doing this, and she goes like this. She goes, and I go, and I'm pointing at the inner tubes, and she's looking at me, and she's got these big sunglasses on like the kids do, and I'm like, what are we gonna do about this? You know, I'm just the first
You're
one with a
headed
toddler.
into-
There's going to be 100 other people with toddlers.
Right.
What are we going to do about this?
Right.
And she's like going like this. And finally I go like this. I didn't lose eye contact with her. I looked at her just like this, and I grabbed the inner tube, and I chucked it as far as I could. And she blows her whistle. And I walk a few feet. I grab the next inner tube, and I chuck it as far as it'll go. And she blows her whistle, and I grab the next inner tube, and I chuck it as far as I can go. And she's blowing, it's like a Saturday Night Live skit. She's blowing the whistle each time.
The lifeguard's blowing the whistle?
And finally, and after about 3 tosses, I stomped over. I said, I need to speak to your manager. And they came out and turned off the DEFCON 5 waterfall that was going to drown someone for the day. And here I am without a shirt on, which is a sight to be seen. And I'm just chucking inner tubes like frisbees as far as we'll go. Yeah.
Wow.
So when you say, do you have a reservation? I wanted to grab a chair and chuck it as far as it would go. The other thing I'll say is one of our realtors, Liza Rodriguez, just told me the other day. She went to Terra. And she made a great point, is the lights are too bright in there. Food's fine. The food is, but it feels very cafeteria-like, she said. And I agreed.
That's
it was
true.
too bright. There was no ambiance.
All right, so if you have one note, it's don't take reservations if you don't take them. And if you have a second note, it's turn down the lights.
Yeah,
I
there
think
just
we've-
wasn't, if you got
Maybe
a photo.
turn off the waterfall when it's toddler day.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Do you want to talk about real
I
estate
don't
at all?
ask for a
tonight?
lot. Yes, I do.
Oh, thank goodness, because
All right. All right. So, utilities.
yes,
So, electric, water, gas, if you have gas.
sure.
Does a seller have to keep them on through closing if they were on at the time you went under contract?
Well, my guess would be yes. You have to keep the utilities on because you still own the house.
What if you don't live there?
But you still own the house. It's
All right.
still your responsibility, right?
You got it right, but maybe for the wrong reason.
Oh. All right, I'll take it.
All right, Ice-T gets lucky every once in a while. All right, so here's the deal. So the contract says, first of all, in the listing agreement, the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors listing agreement, it does say clearly that a seller will keep the utilities on through closing.
Okay.
So the listing agent or listing broker, as a cooperative agreement between them and the seller, can say, hey, you got to keep those on.
Okay.
In the purchase and sale agreement, it says that the seller is going to maintain the property in its current condition through closing.
Okay.
mowing the lawn, things like that. So
Yes.
the utilities have to be kept on.
Okay.
In my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but I do feel like that's pretty clear.
So is that something that's not happening?
Well, one of our realtors has a situation where a listing agent advised, potentially based on a conversation, advised a seller that it was okay for them to turn them off. And she said she's done this on a lot of different sales around town.
So to me, it might be different in a more moderate climate, but because we have such humidity, such heat, I mean, it's sort of a no-brainer to me that you've got to keep the utilities on to at least keep the humidity and temperature inside the house at a certain level.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's just in the contract, it says you have to maintain the home as it was.
Right.
So,
unless you've turned off the utilities
So
prior to...
foreclosures are
Okay.
very often the case
Okay.
where the utilities are not on. And sometimes they'll
sense.
even disclose right in the listing description, utilities are not on.
Right.
Don't turn them on.
Okay.
And that sort of thing. So that can happen.
So you gotta leave it on.
Realtors will interpret things differently, and that's why you have brokers and attorneys that you can call. So we actually did reach out to an attorney, and Jeffrey
love
Marks.
justice.
You know Jeff Marks?
No, I don't.
Okay, well he's got a title company over here on San Jose Boulevard. They do a great job, and he actually is one of the purveyors, or is that the right word? Creators of the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors contract, and he wrote that yes, it should be assumed that that's the intent of the paragraph.
And you also mentioned... Oh, who's that?
That's Keith.
Hi,
That's
Keith.
Say hi, Keith.
Hi.
He actually is also a broker and owner of Roundtable Realty.
There he is in all his glory.
Yeah.
So another question then, if it has to be maintained as it was from, I guess, the day of the contract being. So what about lawns?
Yes.
Because I know that
That's
was an issue even when we bought our house.
That's a very common one. A seller often doesn't time the mowing of the lawn right, doesn't think they need to mow the lawn or whatever, and a buyer comes along and the lawn is...
So now if
3
it's
feet
the
tall.
day of closing when you do your final walk, you do your final walkthrough the day of closing, right?
Right.
And so if it's the final walkthrough the day of closing and they haven't mowed the lawn, I mean, do you say, I'm not buying this house until you mow the lawn?
Well, technically, a buyer doesn't have to close. They could... This is a lot of different layers to that solution here. So if a buyer says, look, I'm not closing until this stuff is done, and there's they don't close on time, right?
Yeah.
So the contract is not fulfilled, then it becomes a question of whether or not somebody is defaulting or non-defaulting, unless they do
this
an
is
extension.
deeper than I thought.
And sometimes a seller may go, you know what, you're right, I didn't mow the lawn. I'll give you $100 to have the kid mow the lawn, call him out on Monday. Those sorts of things happen all the time.
Okay.
At final walkthroughs, whether or not they're happy with the paint job or the frame, the nail holes in the wall from the framing happens all the time. And very often a realtor is there to help kind of negotiate that last day of getting everybody to the closing table.
Right. And there could be so many details like that.
Yep.
That push things off. So one more question. So if let's say they didn't mow the lawn, you get there for the final walkthrough. You say, yes, I want you to mow the lawn. They mow the lawn. What if you've determined that in the time period where they hadn't been maintaining the lawn, some of the grass, like the grass died?
Yeah, so it would be on the seller to make this right.
Wow.
They have to there's an exception for normal wear and tear, but closing might happen in 30 days. There's not going to be a lot of normal wear and tear.
Yeah, but if it's a 3-month.
Well, it could be, but point being is it may not be normal wear and tear for chinch bug, or if they can prove that they stopped watering the lawn, and so yeah,
right.
So these things can happen.
Yeah,
but that's why you have a great realtor on your side to help.
Preferably a single agent.
Well, preferably
somebody who's going to make sure they're working for you.
You.
That's right. Excellent.
Yep.
All right.
Well, great show today.
Yeah, I think
crossed a lot
so
of bridges
too.
And heard about my problems with irony.
Yes, I always enjoy your rants. They are something to behold.
I don't know that the victim of my rant at different times is enjoying them
That's
as much.
okay. It wasn't us, so we
moment.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you soon.
Next week.